how to rebalance the energies of the world. And I keep being shown these groups that are practicing the dark arts, okay? They are practicing dark things, and we know a lot about these groups, but right now our attention is going to be focused to them. Why? The reason we're being focused and drawn to them is because they're part of the cleanup. They are the earth cleanup. And the only way for karma to rebalance, we have to go into the darkest dark. And that's where a lot of the light workers have been sitting and laying in for the last several years. And it has been very tasking. It has been a violation of human sovereignty. It has been a violation of our free will. And depending on how enlightened you are, depending on how connected you are to spirit, then you would become more of that targeted group. There's a lot of people that talk about the 144,000 light workers that are derived from the gods. And it does feel like we have been under fire, okay? We have been in a war of survival. And the guidance I have been getting so strongly right now is we have to keep rising. We have to fight. And for those people, those souls, that's very challenging because we don't really come in to Earth with a fighting soul. We don't come in to start wars. So how we alchemize that energy is going to look a little different, and we're going to be alchemizing it through various ways that our spirit teams are guiding us to. One of those is humor, okay, laughter, and more of a satirical, comical outlook of society to rebalance those energies out of how dark everything is. So some of it can come in the form of comedy. Some of it can come in the form of music. Music is a really powerful way to alchemize those dark energies, to get messages out to the collective. And song, singing is another way to get messages out, your voice, okay? We see a lot of that, obviously, with churches. Songs like a really big part of that, connecting to the higher divine to break through those energies, connecting to a higher frequency energetically through song, and obviously through music, sound going out, through social media and other forms of, radio or any other means to get music out to the collective. But also, there is a point where a lot of light workers also are seeing behind the veil, and they have formed kind of like superpowers, so to speak. And with those types of superpowers, they can actually feel energy or sense that something's wrong, okay? They can sense that. They have an awareness, okay? And because of that awareness, they have to figure out ways to protect themselves behind the veil, because we are targets of interdimensional warfare, okay? And we have to learn how to tap into our superhero power. I just have to say, everything in our world is controlled by a small group. And I think a lot of us already know that. But part of the control is something that I don't think a lot of us really understood how they were controlling it. But a lot of it is through these dark groups, these elite secret societies. So if we are being forced, okay, to navigate these energies and to ascend the darkest dark right now, because we are on the verge of humanity, okay, because we are forced to address it as light workers, we now have to understand how they were creating the imbalance, how they were creating the injustices, and that comes in through the dark rituals. And I've talked a lot about that on my channel and also on my Patreon. I uploaded a specific video in regards to how to navigate those energies as a light worker. A lot of people don't know how to work in the light against the dark, okay? There's a lot of people that don't have that information, and they just fall victim to the dark. And that's also something that we have to shift and learn how to rise above as well. And that is its own practice in working with the light, okay? Because it doesn't feel like it could work, but it does work. It absolutely works. But we've been programmed to believe that we can't work with the light. So right now, it is really important that we understand where we are at, okay? And the mission of humanity and of the light workers right now is we are navigating this space of the fall of Satanism, okay? That is where we're going right now. And I'm going to put it in as blatant as possible. And this is going to be a big one because it's going to affect militaries, okay? So if we are not prepared for this, this is where we're at, okay? So my bird is flipping out right now for a reason. It's either humanity right now or nothing at all. So that's the choices. And so it's military or humanity because we went too far, okay? So right now, Satanism runs through militaries, okay? That is how weapons are made, okay? These are things that have to come to the forefront right now. And the world is going to be faced with a decision of if they want to continue to have wars and militaries because they believe that they need that protection and they allow fear to guide those decisions, or we would have to negate the military, okay, in some way. And I'm not saying we would have to get rid of the military fully, but any part of the militaries that are not aligned to the right energies would have to be removed at this point because they are connected to these dark groups, okay? They're all one. It's all connected. And that is the same for money, banks, okay? And how money is created and made. And if it has been done through satanic practices, that would fall, okay? So these are the things that we have to address as a world now. If we want to continue to hold on to human sovereignty and the entire human race as a whole, we would have to navigate these really, really dark waters, okay? And in this dark, I'll just put it like, I'll just look at it like a layer, okay? This dark layer that we're going into right now, it is going to be a shakeup, okay? It'll be a major shakeup in terms of institutions, okay? In terms of like hierarchy and in terms of reform. I mean, in terms of reform, okay? So these institutions are what create reform. So if we have to go into these institutions to shake them up in order to get justice for the collective, for humanity, then that means reform would leave, okay? And that would leave in every aspect of every single part of our world, including schools, education, governments. Everything we do would have to change, including businesses. And so this is really where we're at right now as a world. And it is going to be a very daunting road for many who are in these fields, okay? That are really going to have to be the ones that stand up for humanity. But this is where we are going into right now. And this is the mission of lightworkers. And it is something that we have to understand as a world, what we are up against and how we are going to be navigating these waters, because that layer, that underbelly of the dark, of the satanic underbelly is what we're going into right now, okay? And if we don't clean up that underbelly, then we will no longer have human sovereignty or a race, okay? And that is where we are at. And we've been dancing around that for so long and pretending that it doesn't exist and just sweeping it under the rug. And, you know, it's interesting because there was this video that was going viral. It was this man coming through and he was saying that everyone flew in on their private jets and that they weren't talking about the obvious thing, which was about paying taxes, okay? And I feel like the obvious thing for me is Satanism. That's what I would say. Oh, we are not addressing Satanism. Satanism is what is keeping us trapped, okay? And so Satanism runs through every single industry, okay? And it is connected to elite secret societies. It has been the war that we have been up against for centuries. We are not addressing the truth, okay? And that is the truth. And now it is starting to come to the light, okay? The Super Bowl is coming up, okay? And that is one of the largest human trafficking events of the country. And there are other things that happen, and most Americans would not associate the Super Bowl with the largest human trafficking event. That information now has to come together. Why? Because that's the line. That's where we're going. That's what we're entering into. We are now removing the veil from every single thing, everything that is pro-America, right? Okay? The church, right? We're removing the veil of the church. We are removing the veil from every single institution, every single event, every hobby. Everything is going to come to light, what is in that underbelly connected to that energy, okay? And that's what's going to be coming up. That's what we're going to be seeing now. And for many, it can be a very harsh reality, but that's the cleanup. That's the cleanup job. And now we are going to have to address everything. We are going to see football for the money behind the teams. We're going to see the people who are backing the teams. We're going to see the owners. We're going to start seeing things that we don't want to see. And now everything is going to start to connect together. People in power have been untouchable for a reason. And that's what we are breaking at this moment in time. That is what we are going to be piercing through at this moment in time to really start to shift the energies karmically and usher in a new start for humanity in order for us to bring back in balance and harmony. And that goes into everything. There are reasons why people are in unhappy, miserable relationships. There are reasons that people are in the wrong jobs. A lot of that is because their karma, they have injustices that were created by these other groups. It's a push and pull energy. So these satanic groups are taking the best of, they're taking the best talent, they're taking the money, the power, they're taking everything and they're freaking hoarding it. So what happens to the rest of humanity? They get nothing. So that's the imbalance. So then they get the miserable relationships, they get no money, they accrue debt, they accrue everything. That's the imbalance. So then we have the people at the very top who are bringing in billions of dollars effortlessly, and then we have the other people who are suffering because of that. They pretend that they are not in the same category, that they are above, they are better, when they are the full-on reason for what has happened to the people who are suffering. They took from them. They go hand in hand. So now we're going to see the connection between the elites and the people who have had the really shitty, hard lives. We're going to start to see the connection coming in, and then the balance is going to start shifting, okay? The scales are going to start shifting now, and that's the energy that is coming in. We are going to see the connection now of what they took, okay? So this is the mission right now for humanity. This is the mission for light workers. I hope this video reaches you. I hope that the messages come through the way I'm intending them to come through. I am trying to channel from a higher place to help people to understand what we are in or what we are going into right now and how to navigate it.